You probably clicked on this guide because you wanted to learn about Akuma. My pitch for why you should play him: he has all the tools you would want in the character. A great fireball, ways to neutral skip with air fireball and demon flip, great normals like forward heavy punch and crouch medium kick, coupled with amazing walk speed, great damage, and he just looks badass. The big trade-off is he has 1,000 lower health than the second lowest health character in the game, which basically turns him into a glass can archetype. I want to start this guy basic, start how to play him in neutral, and we'll go into more complex things as the video goes on. Timestamps below, feel free to skip forward, but let's get started. All right, because Akuma is so versatile, his neutral is a little more complicated to play than, let's say, Honda, where you just have to spam headbutt and butt slam, and now he has a couple other pokes that you can use. Akuma, I like to think of it as 3 different modes that you have to operate in. One is your zoning game. The reason his fireball is good is because, you know, you can charge it up, and he has a lot of speed variety, right? This is his fastest, his heavy punch fireball, his slowest is his light punch fireball, and because you can vary his projectiles, this makes the zoning game strong. The other thing that also makes the zoning game strong is the whole point of the fireball is to force your opponent to jump, because the way you beat a fireball is jumping over it. And Akuma has some great anti-airs. Probably the go-to anti-air is his heavy punch DP. Does the most damage. I see some people use his medium punch. I see some people use his light punch. They're a little easier because they start up quicker. But if you want the most damage, most people are using heavy punch. Crouch heavy punch works, you know, if like in a pinch. The issue is you see how you're pretty far from your opponent. You don't really get a good mix up after, and it does less damage. Sometimes if you do it like really late, you can get a cancel, but it's really inconsistent. So yeah, there you could do something like that, but it's really inconsistent. So most people stick with the dragon punch. The third thing that you can do for anti-air is this back heavy kick. This thing is really good, but you have to do it really early, because if you do it too late, you're just going to get hit out, right? Same timing on the DP, easy peasy every time. But the main benefit is you get a lot more damage on this. Just a basic combo like this, where you go into charge fireball, drive rush, heavy punch into whatever you want, and they're in the corner and they took a bunch of damage, right? So his anti-airs are great, and you can kind of play the zoning fireball game. The issue is this fireball game doesn't work against everyone, right? Some characters have really good tools. Some characters can just outzone you, so you need a couple other ways to play the character. And of course, you can use your fireball against anyone. Think of it as like a very long range poke, like especially on the mid range, where like let's say they're whiffing a button, you throw the fireball to beat their button. Doesn't matter what mode you operate Akuma in, fireball is still gonna have use because it's really good. The second way you'll want to play Akuma in neutral is just walking people down with your strong buttons, right? 6 heavy punch, this button is the GOAT. This is the go-to button with Akuma, in my opinion. And the reason is that's basically his farthest reaching button, but also it's hit convertible. If you see them get hit, you can press heavy punch, heavy kick again. You basically did a 5th of their health, and you get a knockdown situation, right? You can just drive rush after them, and then you can do whatever you want. So this normal is really good, and just to show you guys, this is how you should practice it too, is put the dummy on random guard, and then whenever they get hit, go into the second heavy punch, and whenever they block, you don't do anything. The 2 things you should really practice are making sure you get your anti-airs down, and making sure you can hit confirm this every time. Because if you do it on block, yeah, you're super unsafe. On counter hit, you actually can get like something like this if you want to crack out a little bit extra damage. And on punish counter, you're +8, which means you get crouch heavy punch. And then you go into core circle back heavy. In the corner, this is like brutal because you get extra damage off the core circle back heavy. He has a couple other really good tools. His crouch medium kick is very strong. The main reason crouch medium kicks are strong is because they hit low, and coupled with Akuma's really good walk speed, you can catch people that are just like walking back, and then you can get your combo of your choice. Another really strong thing about crouch medium kick is Akuma's fireball is actually really good to cancel into, and the light fireball, if you space it out enough, you actually can be slightly plus. As you see, this is +1, and then you can obviously mix up with the fireballs, but they're all pretty much safe. So if you don't have the drive to commit to drive canceling the crouch medium kick, just cancel the fireball. I usually default to light, but you gotta be a little careful because there is a gap. They could perfect parry or something like that. A couple other really good neutral tools. 6 medium kick. This button is it's pretty nice. It goes far. It's like, think of it as like a lower reward but lower risk version of 6 heavy punch. So if you just want to like control the spacing with like and be able to hedge against like anti-air people like just blocking, 6 medium kicks are really good for that. You can also on punish counter, you can link a sweep if you have to be at the right distance. Some people, when they're also walking people down, they'll use stand jab just because it's really quick. There's not really much risk throwing this out compared to some other buttons. Obviously, your reward is going to be a lot lower, but it just has a really good hitbox if people do this. And you can't really get much from just one stand jab. Let's say you get a counter hit on this, you can go into a confirm like that. So if you're looking to whiff punish, you can either do stand heavy punch, like hit this. This goes into your core circle back heavy punch, or you can do 2 medium punch. Same idea, and you can also drive rush these buttons as well and get a full combo too. All right, and then the third mode of Akuma is what I would call like the YOLO mode, right? So Akuma has some pretty good ways to neutral skip. Air Fireball is a very, very good neutral skip. So let's just say I'm trying to anti-air Akuma. All right, I anti-aired Akuma. Let me try anti-air it again. I got hit, right? And a lot of characters, the main way you would counter this is you just try to anti-air it like as late as possible. You're waiting for the normal jump. You're gonna want to anti-air early. You might hit them, especially if you're at the wrong range. So there's a lot of like counterplay Akuma can do with the fireball. Just some general tips for the fireball. Usually the further you are out, the better. So a fireball like this, pretty good because they can't really anti-air you, right? There's 3 different spacings. Light goes the closest to you, heavy goes the furthest. Mix up your spacings. They don't change up too much, but you want to mix up your fireball timings, right? Something like this is unlikely to bait a normal anti-air, but something like this is a lot more likely to bait a normal anti-air, but it's a lot more likely to lose to DP, right? If they have a move that can go through it, like a dragon punch, try to use it less, or try to do it spacings where they aren't able to get under the fireball like that. You also have EX Fireball, same idea. This move is really good. Think of it as like, especially when you do it low to the ground, it's really, really strong, and you get a combo after. So this could be good just like neutral skip, or if they're like, if you know they're gonna go for a DP, it's a lot better at stuffing out DPs, and you get a lot more reward. All right, the second YOLO move is Demon Flip. Now, Demon Flip is really strong. There's 3 versions: light, medium, heavy. Medium goes a little bit further than the heavy, and heavy goes really far, right? You have the overhead, which you just press punch, and you can delay these follow-ups too. So if you want to get like a kind of a mix-up, you can do delayed overhead, or you can go into low. Speaking of which, the low is when you just let go of the controller and you'll do the low. The low is also plus on block. So basically, if they're blocking this thing, you're perfectly fine with it. That's the whole goal, just to use this to get in. And you also have the dive kick. Now the dive kick can be minus, right? There's also not a high-low component to attach to it. You might be thinking, why would I do that? Well, the whole point is if it hits, you can get a combo, right? So obviously it depends where the dive kick hits. As you can see, the frame advantage changes, especially if they're standing. But in general, like, my recommendation is just go into a couple jabs. And if it happens to combo, it combos. He also has the EX Demon Flip. Air EX Demon Flip and the Air EX Fireball is very, very strong. It only uses 2 bars. And you can do the same thing like you would off of the regular Air EX Fireball. The last move I want to talk about in neutral is this teleport. Now, this teleport's a little gimmicky. I call this like a YOLO move because you're literally throwing your life away. It's not like an actual teleport like his old teleports. You can just hit him out of it on reaction. You can also just jump it. But the whole point of this move is you could cancel a teleport into the throw input. And if they are just sitting there, they'll get thrown, and this does a chunk of damage. It actually pairs very well with the fireball game. So if you're throwing a lot of fireballs, you'll notice that people will start to parry, right? And when they start to parry, and if you think they're gonna react, like if they're just reacting to everything with a parry, they may react to the startup of the teleport with a parry. You grab them, you do a bunch of damage. One other thing that normally I would talk about for characters, but Akuma is actually lacking in this department, is Drive Rush. Akuma doesn't have the best buttons out of Drive Rush. I think, honestly, his best button is probably Stand Jab, but as you can see, it does not go very far. And I think the best thing to combo into after this is just the stand medium kick, because let's say they're crouching, this will force stand, and then you can go Natatsu or whatever you need. Same thing with crouch medium kick, this works as well. Forward heavy punch works as well if you want to use that. And if you're close, obviously you can get crouch heavy punch for a little extra damage. In my opinion, you should be spending a lot of your EX gauge on the 2 versions of the EX Air Fireball and just normal into the drive rush into mix up. So the ideal Akuma uses one of these 3 styles or 3 modes to kind of play neutral, right? So against, in the mirror, you want to obviously be very fireball heavy and walk them down with pokes. Against characters without a DP, obviously you can rely on air fireball a lot more. And then characters that can zone you out, let's say someone like JP, obviously like air fireball is going to be really good. You want to use drive rush, but you also want to walk people down with pokes and rely less on your fireball. All right, so let's talk about offense and combos. We'll go with combos first, and the main thing to be aware of is crouching combos and standing combos for this character are different. That doesn't really apply to a lot of characters, but it does apply to Akuma. The main thing is Tatsu, specifically medium and light Tatsu, do not work on crouching characters. So if they're crouching, you either need to stand them up with something like stand medium kick, crouching heavy punch, or you need to confirm into something like 214 light punch or DP. DP is more optimal, specifically heavy punch DP, but it's a little harder to execute, especially if you're new. So you can always just go into 214 LP, but I'll be using DP for this context. Stand light kick has the most range, so it's really good for like jab chains here. If they are standing though, you get Tatsu, which is really nice. And then after the Tatsu, you get Sweep. Actually, it does a little less damage, but your knockdown situation is a lot better. If you want to get a mix-up off this, you have to drive rush. If you want a mix-up situation off this, you just double dash and you're right in their face. The mix-up is really simple, just like any other character. Once you get this double dash in their face, you either do strike, throw, shimmy. Strike is your stand medium punch. This is +4 on hit, which means you can just keep looping the same sequence, right? So if someone likes to mash, this is how you blow up people that mash, right? Or if people like to jump on wake up, or if people like to DI, or anything that scrub players like to do, this is how you blow it up. Same thing. Double dash in the throw beats mash, it beats DI, it beats all types of options, right? Now, the thing that this doesn't beat, or these 2 options don't beat, are people doing a delay throw tech. Neither of these beat people mashing invincible wake ups. So that's where the shimmy option comes into play. And thankfully, because Akuma's back walk speed is so good, you can just walk back. And your walk back shimmy, 5 heavy punch, and the core circle back heavy. And then here you can either throw a fireball, or if you want to be aggressive, just go in a drive rush and repeat the same situation over. There's a few other important combos you need to learn mid-screen. If you're ever doing, like, let's say you need to crack out a little extra damage on the lights, you go crouch light, crouch heavy, and then you go Tatsu, right? And then same combo. And that forces stand, so you don't need to worry about figuring out if they're standing or crouching. So medium kicks have a little less hit stun, or crouch medium kicks have a little less hit stun just because they're that good. So here you have to go crouch medium punch into crouch heavy. And then same combo, right? And then any other medium or heavy, you do forward heavy punch into 2 heavy punch. Similar idea, it just does a little bit extra damage. If you want to tack on a super, you just do it after the Tatsu. So all the supers work. I would honestly not spend these supers unless they're going to kill the opponent or they're really close to burning out. Like, if you're not going to win the round, don't spend level 3. If you're going to win the round without level 3, then don't spend the level 3. But same idea, except you just cancel the level 3 from your light DP. And this works for CA as well. In the corner, your offense looks very similar. So like take any knockdown, for example, you can go for another throw. Throw loops are very strong because there's not much you could do other than like invincible reversal out or try to jump out. The other option you have is trying to go for a shimmy. So just let's say they get hit. Same idea. Go into super if you have it, and if you need to kill. So Akuma's really privileged. He gets a lot of frame advantage after a dash, which means you can do some cool stuff like you can do dash 5 heavy punch, get a combo on hit, more on counter hit, dash back heavy kick, charge into EX fireball, do a combo. I really like this dash into EX fireball because non-charge EX fireball, you're +2, which means you get a free throw. So you can just like keep looping this sequence. I really like this. And then let's say they finally decide to like tech, you know, do a shimmy. There's one other combo I think is worth learning. This is like your max damage. So if you really want to punish something hard, let's say it's a DP, sometimes you might not have time. Just use like 5 heavy kick, and you can get something really basic like this. But if you want to be really optimal, I think all you get really is this. One last thing in the corner, this EX Fire Palm is really good off a crouched medium punch or something, or let's say you get a drive rush combo, back heavy kick, charge fireball, heavy kick Tatsu. All right, couple quick corner steps I just wanted to share. So after any light Tatsu, you can hold up forward, press the jump normal, and that is a safe jump, so it'll beat DPs as long as you're holding back. Now this does technically work mid-screen, but I don't recommend it. Let's say they just happen to block, your mix-up's not really that great, are pretty spaced away from you. The other setup is after any heavy Tatsu with a stand medium kick, and you get the same situation as you did before. We can do either a throw, stand medium punch, or backwalk to shimmy. So a couple other offense related things, you know, mid-screen, whenever or anytime you go for a drive rush, you can do drive rush overhead to the combo, forward medium punch, medium kick, Tatsu, do your Oki, rinse and repeat. A couple other things on offense, if you're really lazy on your shimmies and you don't see that like if you can't hit confirm this, which you can, by the way, hit confirm this into core circle back medium. I think it's a little harder to hit confirm with the core circle back heavy, but if you want to be lazy, you can go into core circle back heavy, and it's only -2, so it's not really the worst thing. You have a lot of RPS you could do. You could try to parry, you could try to mash, you could, you know, just block. So just doing this on block is not the worst thing. There's also like some situations where, like, let's say your opponent is mashing a button, you can do core circle back heavy to force them to respect your spacing, and then you just get pretty basic combo like that, right? If you want to destroy new players, stand medium kick into stand heavy kick. This actually hits as an overhead and it's safe, and then on hit your plus, you can just keep doing it. It's not really real because they can just mash after. You can stop the mash like with something like core circle back medium, and also the low is way slower, so there's not really a mix-up. But if you want to be new players, that's kind of your gimmick for this section. So after you get them to block, let's say a stand medium punch on knockdown or just like a jab string, you actually have a few different options. You know, you can obviously do like stand medium punch, going for a throw, stand medium punch, jab the frame trap, stand medium punch, go for a shimmy. And those are just basic things that other characters have. But you do have a couple of other options on block. Mainly the demon flip is really strong, especially if they're not reacting to it. And all the demon flip follows are plus. If they parry, you just hold down and then throw them. The other cancel option you have is fireball, right? So anytime you're worried about them like checking you after a couple jabs, you can just cancel on the fireball. The other option you have is you can cancel the core circle back heavy, and because you kind of like lean back a little bit, you might be able to get a punish counter into a full combo. All right, so section 3 on defense. Now, Akuma has multiple different things for defense, right? Teleport is not a defensive tool. Don't use it on wake up. But you have EXDP, right? EXDP, 2 bars. It's invul, one of the best EXDPs because it does the most damage. After EXTP hits, you can just kind of throw a fireball, or you can try to drive rush in for a little bit more pressure, but you don't have the best situation. A lot of characters actually get a better knockdown after EXTP. All the other universal options apply. You know, delay tech, delay jab, just block, jump out, Jump down medium kick I think is also decent in the corner, right? So if they like happen to go for a throw, you know, cross something, might be ready to cross cut. Well, this kind of forces the issue, and you might hit them like trying to anti you or something like that. His best buttons on defense: crouch light, right? The reason we need to crouch light over stand light is because you want to be able to block low at the same time. The best follow up to crouch light, especially if you do it on defense, you want to make sure you confirm this in the combo. Best thing you can do is stand light kick into Tatsu, or you know, if they're crouching, you can go with the core circle back light punch. On counter hit, this links into crouch medium punch. So if you happen to like interrupt them and you need that additional range, a lot of people will like just dial this in instead. And you get pretty much the same combo, except after crouch medium punch, core circle back medium punch works as well. There's two other buttons you might want to press defensively. Take for example a situation like this. This is not a true block string, right? So you can mash crouch medium punches. Crouch medium punch is very good to mash in pressure, and then you can drive cancel it into whatever you want. Right, so very, very good button to mash. The other button you might want to mash is crouch medium kick. Now, having cancelable crouch medium kick is really good because if someone's trying to shimmy you, right, doing a defensive like crouch medium kick, very strong. And I would just almost always drive cancel this, because especially if you're trying to bust out of pressure, you should be using it. Of course, you can also, if you don't have the drive, just cancel the fireball. Force them to stop shimmying you, and that way you can, you know, block things out more, and it'll open up throw tech and that sort of thing. So another option Akuma has is wake up drive reversal, but I don't really recommend it just because there's some cheeky things that people can do to like bait it out. But EXTB doesn't work against those, right? The only time I would like consider doing wake up drive reversal is someone's like shimmying a lot and they're just autopiloting their shimmy. Then you might be able to catch them with the wake up drive reversal instead. But I mean, that's kind of high level. I would honestly just stick with the XDP. The only other thing we did talk about is checking drive rush. I guess this is kind of defense related. I think crouch medium punch is the best for this, and you know, you can just do the same combo that you were doing before. It's such like a awkward combo for me. Okay, but yeah, you can do the same combo before and check those drive rushes. I don't think his drive rush check is the best, and you do have to be a little on point. Like for example, I think the jabs are not the best to check drive rush with, but yeah, if your reactions are on point, then crouch medium punch is definitely the way to go. Especially in Street Fighter 6, it's designed that every tool kind of has a use, and so I want to make sure we kind of cover every move, because in order for you to become a strong Akuma, you eventually have to use all the tools. Now obviously you should start with the strongest tools first that we talked about before, but let's talk about some of the other things that this character has. So we talked about supers to kind of tack on extra damage. They do have some utility, so for example, EX Fireball. This combos, you can combo into level 1 super. You'd think this would be kind of hard to hit confirm, but if you see them like throw out a regular fireball at the right timing, there we go. You can just hit confirm like that. All right, so you also have the air fireball. For some reason it's on kick, but same idea. I don't see people use this much. There's like some really sweaty combos. The only time I've seen people do this is like after jump medium punch, but these combos are like kind of hard. And I see a lot of people instead just go for EX Fireball into, you know, into whatever here. Level 1 super also has invulnerability, so you can kind of phase through things, which is kind of nice. So especially if you're in burnout, this is one of the supers you can go for. A level 2 super is also really good for burnout just because it's on core circle back, so you can kind of like buffer this, and then if you see them press something, you can just press the punch button, right? This also has a lot of invul, so like for example in this mirror match that you'll probably be playing a lot, you can actually super through the air fireball, get a full pretty good damage off that. The other main benefit is in the corner, this is actually a better super. So the super wall bounces, which is super nice, and you can just do a really easy combo like this. You get, you know, tack on a little over 1,000 damage. So really, really good in the corner. Oftentimes I see people cancel the level 3 most of the time, unless level 2 is going to kill. And it's particularly used a lot after this EX Palm, because you can cancel the EX Palm and then you can just do the same exact combo that we just showed, right? So the whole point of EX Palm is that you actually get a follow-up in the corner. In mid-screen, that doesn't really do much. Of course, you get a follow-up after the heavy version as well, but the main benefit is that this is faster, so it means it's more hit confirmable, right? So for example, stand heavy punch, you can delay your cancel, hit confirm into EX, and then get a full combo. It also combos from mediums as well. So you can tack on a little extra damage from that. Level 3, pretty much always using it for combos. Of course, you can use it as a reversal, but it's very high risk, high reward. So be careful with that. It does have pretty poor range compared to level 2. So if you're like trying to go through fireballs and stuff, probably level 2 is your best bet. And of course, we have to talk about Raging Demon. So you actually don't see Raging Demon that often looking at very high level Akuma matches. And that's because honestly, most people just prefer to combo into it because comboing into super is just so strong in this game. And you can't cancel into Raging Demon, and it does actually do a little bit extra damage. Anytime you cancel into a special, instead of canceling into Tatsu or whatever, cancel into Core Circle Back Light Punch, do the follow-up, and then you can do Demon after this. And it's honestly not too hard. You can just like keep mashing Light Punch like I do there, then hit forward, Light Kick, and Heavy Punch. But this actually does do slightly more damage than canceling into level 3. If you want to do it as a command grab, it does work. The thing I recommend doing is doing like a Drive Rush. Now, if you're really sweaty, you can do Drive Rush into Demon. I can't do it. I think it's a really hard input, but if you play on like Hitbox or something, it might be doable. A lot easier version is you can just do Drive Rush into Jab, and then do the Demon. And as you can see, I'm holding up, but you can't actually jump it. And this is unmashable. It's really good, but I find often like I just don't get the opportunity to land it, honestly. So 4 medium punches is overhead. You can do Drive Rush overhead. That's the main time you're doing it, just so you can be able to combo off of it. If they're hit crouching, I think the best for confirm you can do is this double medium punch target combo that he has. I don't find this used very often. Usually like newer Akumas use this as like a combo filler because it looks good, but it scales your combo to shit. So realistically, you don't really want to do it that much. The only place I know it's optimal is on a crouching opponent here. It does a little bit more damage than stand medium kick, which is what most people do. I recommend doing stand medium kick just because it's easier, and it works on standing as well. This, funny enough, does not work on standing. It like pushes them too far back. Honestly, just don't use this that often. Crouch light kick I technically didn't talk about, but basically you just use it to catch walk back. Crouch medium kick most of the time you're using because it has longer range, but let's say on knockdown, you can do the double dash setup. They're always walking back. You know, you can kind of just rinse and repeat this sequence as well with crouch light kick. I'm not sure if I talked much about stand heavy kick, but this normal, this is every beginner Akuma's best friend. But you really have to be careful because if they are blocking and they crouch it, you just die. If you want to get good with Akuma, you really should not spam this. I'm gonna keep it a buck. The good Akumas use forward heavy punch. The bad Akumas just use this and pray the opponent doesn't know how to punish it. This does still have some use though. You know, there are some combos that this is optimal, like after DI. So for example, after DI, this combo is optimal here if you want to keep it meterless. The only other time I would recommend doing this is as a whiff punish. So if you're really clean with the whiff punish, you can use stand heavy kick, but of course it is risky. You could argue like, yeah, on standing it's pretty good, it's plus on block, but if there's just standing, then use crouch medium kick. I don't think I talked about this move at all either, medium kick Tatsu. It can be used to go through fireballs, but it's really hard. There, I got it. I only did 600 damage. You have to have really cracked reactions to do it. The other time I see this is, you know, anytime you do light kick Tatsu, you can also do medium kick Tatsu, right? It does less damage than light kick Tatsu. There's some really specific combos that use MK Tatsu. Let's just put it like that. I don't think you should. I think pretty much anytime you have the ability to use light kick Tatsu, you should use light kick Tatsu. All right, so after light kick Tatsu, instead of doing sweep, you can just go straight into demon flip. I like the heavy kick version, and then you can kind of like do a little cross up if they don't tech, or you can, you know, empty jump throw, empty jump block. It's not that much better than, you know, just run up, stand medium punch, and if they back tech, it's really hard to cross up. So I don't like it, but I think a lot of Akumas feel like this demon flip mix up is like the future of the characters, so maybe there's some potential there. Also, some Twitter tech for you guys that I think is really useful, that I think eventually you'll want to learn. There's a lot more optimal combos, right? So for example, this is a much more optimal version of the version that we went through, but obviously uses a lot more drive gauge. So unless you're like a Akuma master, don't bother with these combos right away. This is the most damage optimal combo that I've found. Almost does 7k damage. You see that it uses the EX Palm, burns you out, and funny enough, that it doesn't even use Demon. Even though Demon does more damage, you can't actually get an airborne juggle on Demon here. This is a example of medium Kicktatsu. I actually find myself in this situation quite a bit. Right, I did the version with heavy Kicktatsu. This combo is like actually kind of hard, but it is definitely more optimal if you want to go this route as well. Anyways, that's it for Akuma. If this guide was helpful or you want to see more Street Fighter guides, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing on the video. It really helps us out and helps us put out more content like this. Akuma is considered to be really strong right now as the recording of this guide, and if previous Street Fighters were anything to judge, he's always going to be strong, so I think he's a good investment character. There's a ton of different ways to play him, so there's a lot of different Akumas out there. There's freaking Daigo at the top of the leaderboards, just doing stand heavy punch, fireball, 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 walk up throw, right? You can play your Akuma really basic, or you can learn some of the tech that we talked about with Demon Flip, or go really heavy on air fireball, etc. Leave any comments below if there's additional things that you think should be in the guide, or anything that you learned you want to shout out and you think would be helpful for other new players picking up the character. As always, take care y'all, and peace.